listening to The Burn. Gaming stuff, blazing fast.
Welcome to a new episode of The Burn, a podcast about gaming done blazing fast. I'm Aviv Manoach.
And I am Omer Kaplan, and I love the intro. Gaming stuff blazing fast. Love it.
Yes.
It's pretty cool.
Yes, it is pretty cool. And I forgot to bring up the name of the guy, so I'll do it right now.
Yeah, I think we had it in the end of the first episode. We had a shout out to the guy, and then we totally forgot. We should have a shout.
His Twitter doesn't list the last name, so I was okay. His name is Dave. You can find him Fishy Twitch on Twitter, and his Twitch is just Fishy, like twitch.tv/fishy. So that's the voice in the intro. So I wasn't that far off. He doesn't advertise his last name, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's like Madonna, like Cher.
Exactly.
You got Fishy. Sweet.
It's like a rapper name.
Yeah, it's one of those words in English that have like smell associated with them, or like a feeling.
There is something fishy about this.
Yeah, something oily and yeah. All right, cool.
Exactly. Yes, so we're that's The Burn, a podcast about gaming. In each episode of the show, we discuss one game we're playing and like, or I should rewrite that, or dislike. We could bring games that we actually don't like to warn you about. And then one current news item that we have something to say about. You can listen to us live on Twitch at twitch.tv/icel.me. It's a short show, so I don't know if it is even worth listening to live, but I do other stuff on that channel as well. And of course, you can subscribe to the podcast feed at theburn.live. That's a new URL since the last episode. It will take you to the Anchor page that have ways to subscribe, like Apple Podcasts and Spotify and Google Podcasts and places like that. And hello people in chat. We have listeners. Hello,
hey!
Hello live listeners.
Nice.
Omer, you are going to talk to us today about the Elder Scrolls Online.
I am, yeah. So, let's talk about the Elder Scrolls Online. I think it was a couple of weeks ago, I got a really strong urge to play Skyrim. I think it was maybe a couple of weeks ago, but I think it was maybe a little bit before or after we talked about the Outer Worlds. I really kind of like the same vibe, just, from a dark fantasy thing perspective. So I put on Skyrim, and let me tell you, this game does not age well. I think, when was Skyrim released? I want to say 2012 or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
So, wow. So I got on the thing, installed it, got all excited. I'm going to play some dark fantasy. I love the Elder Scrolls, universe. And then I start, and there is, oh my God, this intro beginning sequence where you ride the cart, you get to this town, forgot the name of it. I think Windhelm, I'm not sure. And then, some guy, they execute the other guy, and then the dragon comes in. It's like 20 minutes of this unskippable sequence that I've seen a billion times. So I went through that, created my character, and then I uninstalled it, and I thought about, okay, well, I did a new and modern kind of like Skyrim experience, and that's how I ended up. And so I had it on my Steam library for a while. I think so. It's kind of funny because when I opened it to see how much time I played it, I had like 50 hours on it, and I didn't remember anything about it. So that was kind of interesting. So I got in almost fresh because a lot of stuff have changed ever since I last played it. And let me tell you, this is, to me, it's by far the ultimate, online Skyrim experience. It's, an amazing representation of the Elder Scrolls universe. You go in, it's a huge world. And so a lot of stuff have changed, since I played it first. So one of the major changes they had is they decided to make the game less focused on kind of like leveling and grinding, and more focused on the narrative and the stories. And it's a pretty huge download. So it's like 100 gigabyte download. So you download the thing, it takes you forever. And then you go in and everything. First of all, everything looks amazing. I've even playing it on my Mac, which is very refreshing. It runs super smooth. The engine is.
There is Mac gaming.
I don't know if there's Mac gaming. There is. I don't know. I want to say that this is the highest. I do have the latest MacBook Pro, so it does have a graphic card in it. This is the highest fidelity that I've ever seen on a Mac computer. It runs super smooth, no warming up, no hiccups, no. I think I'm getting like more than 60 frames per second. It's like super smooth. So the engine, I don't know what they put in there, but it works. And then the cool thing about it is that, so it's not about grinding, and just leveling up so to get to the end game and then do all the cool stuff. I think the max, it's kind of weird. I think the max level is like 810 or some huge number like that.
How that works?
So here's how it works. You go in, you're level 1, you get your gear, and then you can go in and do any quest you want in any corner of the world that you want. You do start in your like native faction / race environment. So I'm playing a Khajiit, those cat people.
Yes.
So I'm playing a Khajiit rogue. So you start in the kind of like, not the Khajiit homeland because that's DLC, but you start in the kind of like the base games Khajiit, area. And then you start the story. And then from there, you can either take, you can teleport anywhere in the world and do all the stories there. You can do for each region, you have the story arc for that region, or it's like a bunch of like small side quests, fetch quests, go kill that, collect this, bring me that. But everything is voiced over, and everything is kind of like interlinked in a cool way that you can start a side quest, and then all of a sudden, everything is voiced over, and everything is kind of like, super immersive. It takes you to like this really weird story inside like a side quest arc, which is super cool. So you complete quests, you gain ranks, and when you get ranks, the skill system kind of reminds me of Guild Wars, sorta, kinda. You have your racial skills, you have your class skills, but you also have weapon skills based on what you equip. So you can really like RP to the best of your abilities. So when you level up, you just gain skill points that you can put in your different skills. But basically, there is some progression, but you get access to most of the skills, from the start. They onboard you really slowly into it, so you don't have everything unlocked, but you will have it pretty fast.
So
and
it's not, it's not Elder Scroll leveling. You actually go on levels and then allocate skills, and not the other way around.
Yeah, you basically like unlock skills.
Because in normal Elder Scrolls game so far, you got higher levels by using skills. So if you used one-handed sword, you got the skill up, and then at a certain threshold, you got a level which got you either health point, stamina point, or mana point.
So it works similar. There is some depth to it. So you unlock skills, and then it's not the more you use them, it's the more you have them kind of like equipped on your skill bar. They do get levels, but the thing is with the levels, it's you gain levels for skills passively, and when you get to I think level 4 of the skills, and you don't really control that, you just gain it as you go. Mm-hmm. Then you can evolve the skill, and then you can like choose between two different things the skill would do. So let me give you an example. So I'm playing a rogue, and there's like a stabby thing you do. So you can have the stabby thing do more damage, or you can do the stabby thing to heal you. So you can kind of like, you can choose, but it's not, I'm considered low level, so I'm like level 20 something. And, I just feel like it's more, right now it feels more flavor than really impact. Maybe later it's more impactful. I'm not sure, but I'm like a very just so you know, I'm a terrible min-maxer. I rather like play the game my way and like RP and do like very
Sure.
customized stuff rather than saying I'm just gonna get 10 extra point of damage. And I mean I do worry a little bit about synergies, but not so much. Anyway, the cool thing about this game, from a leveling perspective, and that's why it doesn't really matter, is that the entire world scales with you. So you can go and do any quest, any story arc, anything you want, and the world will be on your level.
Which is fairly unique for MMOs, because usually the whole point of MMO is gatekeeping you to certain locations and quests until you level with them. It's more of a modern take that from WoW era, that quest gave enough experience to actually go along and advance, and you used to be forced to grind your way to the next area. And now in Elder Scrolls Online, you say that you don't even have to be limited to specific zones in the game.
No, you can go and do whatever you want, and wherever you want, and the world just scales with you. I worked a lot of quests, or like learned the story arc of the desert place, and now I'm in like the elven place, and I don't really like those guys. They're kind of snobbish, so I'm moving to another area and do stuff there. There are instances with dungeons. Those are kind of cool. I don't know if those scale with you or not, because I'm just jumping in an instant. Everybody's like pretty much my level. We do the thing, we get the gear, we go out.
Because my question would have been how it works if you try to get into an instance with someone 10 levels higher than you or something.
So I don't know. I'm just using the automatic like group maker, so that's probably how it works.
Okay.
Maybe when I don't know how it works with different levels, because even in WoW and this game too, I mean, I'm kind of like playing a solo experience, just like it's like Skyrim, but have like more people in it, but you don't really feel those people. I did join a guild it's like an RP guild of only Khajiit players, which is super cool because everybody like speaking the language and doing the thing. So I had one thing take me to a blacksmith and craft me a bunch of stuff. So it was nice of him. So it was a really positive experience, but for the most part, I'm playing solo. So the world is huge. There's like tons of stuff to do. You do have an in-game purchases store, and you can, if you're really into it, you can buy into like specific DLCs. So one of the things I really liked it wasn't Skyrim, it was the one before, Oblivion. So Oblivion have a strong emphasis on this cult. I forgot the name. They have a red robes. I kept killing them and like wearing their uniform. I don't know. The Dark something. The Dark Brotherhood. So the Dark Brotherhood, you can just buy a DLC and then you can explore the story arc of the Dark Brotherhood and do this thing. Or you can buy, the dragon thing and follow that line. But for the most part, the store is small DLCs, and then you can buy the major expansion, of course. And then other than that, it's pretty much cosmetics. Which for some reason...
The base game is free at the moment?
It's not free, but you can get it, I think, right now for like $10.
I think
I think it's like...
At one time, I think I installed it. I don't remember how I got it. But I don't even remember which race or class I got, but I started in this kind of cave, and I don't remember anything, but I didn't keep playing after that.
So if you're into kind of like, it's not an MMO when you like grind and get to the end game and then you're exhausted and then you have to get better gear. Here it's all about like exploration and storytelling, and you meet this guy, or then he tells you about the stuff, and then you go and explore that, and then you kind of like, it's almost like you're passively getting levels, but it's like all about the story.
I'll tell you the truth, I never got the thing with MMO players that tell you that the end game is where the actual game begins. If I am going to level for 40 hours, that should be my game. I don't want to waste the first 40 hours of the experience and then get to quote unquote the real game. I never did endgame in World of Warcraft, and I enjoyed leveling in that game a lot. So it's very positive to hear you say that I can jump into Elder Scrolls Online and just follow the story and do whatever and explore, and it won't be a gigantic waste of time.
I'm the same way, by the way. I mean, I usually the person that levels up, get to the end, like quote unquote the end game, and then all you see is that, oh my god, now I have to like do super grindy stuff to get decent gear. So it's for me, it's all about the journey.
You start by grinding and then you do super grinding.
Yeah, now you're really committed. So now you go ahead and invest like 10 more billion hours in that. So I think Elder Scrolls Online solved it by putting the max level at 810. So you don't even worry about it. It doesn't really matter. The world scales with you. Just like choose a zone that you really like and go just explore it. And then the cool thing is that the game they put a lot of emphasis, I think, on role play. So you have tons of emotes and all this stuff. But then also when you complete certain quests and like small story arcs, you get like memorabilia that you can use as an emote. So for example, I met this person who needed to find a dragon horn to defeat this dragon, and I helped him. So he ended up giving you the small trinket you can use, like a small dragon horn. I can just blow and, make noise for people. So there's like tons of those surprises throughout the game. That's pretty cool. They have a big emphasis now on like player housing and like build your house, build your thing. I'm not super into that, but I have a feeling it costs money. But some quests will give you like furniture and like, dragon heads to put on above your fireplace. Maybe it's nice. I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm telling you, I cannot for the life of me stop playing this game just because I can go in there, listen to a good story, do some exploration, role play a little bit, and then I'm out. And then, it doesn't feel like a waste of time of like, I'm not grinding. I'm just like enjoying the ride. So That's kind of cool. And I'm also a Khajiit riding a camel. So,
that's great. So the base game is kind of cheap, costs $20, but then the expansions are kind of expensive. But if you just want,
I think it's it's gonna take like so much time to even get to a point where you need an expansion that if you're really that committed, then it's gonna be fun.
If you can buy the base game plus the Elsewhere, however you say that. I slept into Hebrew for a moment.
It's fine.
For 60, so it's like a normal game, and it doesn't have a subscription. So that's
yeah. So the thing is, so one last thing I'm going to say about it is that there is an option. There is a subscription option that's fairly interesting. Not to me, but I guess for some. You pay $15 a month, and then you get all the content, all the DLCs unlocked, everything. You get Elsewhere, you get whatever, you get all the stuff, and they do give you like some like premium currency per month that you can use, and it's actually a fairly generous amount.
Wait, so if you subscribe, you don't need to buy the expansions?
No, you get everything. Everything's unlocked.
That's so weird.
It's very player considerate. Very, very player considerate.
Okay, that's nice.
That's really considerate. You can even see it in the small like design details that sometimes some person will give you, hey, go to my basement and help me with the thing. So you're going to their basement to help them with the thing, and then instead of like running all the way back to that person, just wait outside and say, oh, thank you, I just got her. Wow, so nice of you. So they really shows that they're really thinking about the players as the design, and I'm really happy that they did it with the financial model as well. But right now there's so much for me to explore and to see that I don't feel the need to subscribe to anything.
Okay. Let's move to our other topic. So we had a bit of a technical problem, and the original recording of the Stadia segment didn't save. The OBS actually crashed, and both local and Twitch recording were lost. So you'll be hearing my addition to this segment, which also means that Omer couldn't do the ending of the episode, so we apologize for this, and hopefully in the future we won't have those issues. Thank you.
All right, moving on. Blazing fast.
Yeah, our news item of this episode is Google Stadia that launched this last week. And first of all, if you don't know, Google Stadia is Google's attempt for a subscription-based streaming gaming service. It's not a new idea. A couple of companies tried it over the last decade. It was a meme. It was called cloud gaming, and no one actually understood what it's supposed to do. And then Google came along, and they just have the infrastructure that no other company that tried to do it has, and so they are putting out a gaming service that you basically don't need to own anything in order to play. It runs on Chrome browser, it runs on Chromecast. So in order to play, all you need to do is pay for the Google Stadia service. It's not a library service like Uplay Plus or EA Origin or other like that. It's more akin to Xbox, PlayStation, Switch subscriptions, online subscription, where you need to buy the games, but you also need to pay the subscription fee. So you pay Google the subscription fee, then you buy the game on Stadia, and then you have access to it from any Google-enabled device like a Chromecast and Chrome browser and Android devices, etc. A bit similar to what NVIDIA used to do with the Shield, although here you don't have to have a local machine running the game because you get it from the servers. And there were a couple of issues with the launch that people talked about. First of all, there were some reports of Google Chrome Ultras getting overheated. Apparently, they are not meant to be used for this exact thing, but I'm sure that will be solved in the future. And the second thing is that some of the games that supposedly run at 4K resolution, which Google said Stadia could do depending on the internet bandwidth, were actually 1080 resolution upscales to 4K. Google responded to this issue and said that the problem is with the porting of the games from the other platforms to Stadia. Basically, it's the developers' not exactly fault, but it's how they made the games. And the point I want to raise here is that this happens every time we get a new platform, a new console generations, those type of things. The developers, because you have so many variables and so many things you need to take into consideration when porting a game from one platform to another, or even for when developing to a entirely new system, you can't always get it right at the beginning, and there is nothing we can do about this. I remember when the PlayStation 3 generation started, and developers couldn't get the on-spec performance from the system because they didn't know how. They didn't have enough time with the system. They wanted to get their games out, and it's the same thing here. Yeah, right now we are getting subpar upscale performance from those games. A year from now, depending on the popularity of the system, of course, we will probably get actual native 4K experience. It's only a matter of time. Progress marches forward, as they say. The other thing, and maybe the most prominent thing I heard about people talking about Stadia, is questioning the actual necessity and place of this system in the gaming space. People write off the platform, the technology too soon because they think that the audience Google are marketing for don't want it or won't get what they actually want from it, etc. And they could be right. Maybe Google is not marketing this Stadia to the right people. Maybe this technology is premature, etc. What the point I want to make is that Google does this all the time. Google develop technologies, develop services, then put them out to the world to see how people use them and react to them. And then Google takes the technology, even if the product itself fails, and use it to improve on itself. There are many examples of this, some of which you will obviously know. For example, Google Glass, which many people believe was a failed product, but it brought us the entire Android and push notification system we now know. Before Google Glass and after Google Glass, the system was entirely different. The whole concept of Google Home and Google interconnected devices that can talk to each other and bring notification from one to the other would not have existed without the Google Glass project. The same with Google Wave. Google Wave, if you don't remember, was what was marketed as an email replacement by Google to have sort of always on collaborative document/email system that you open those things called waves, and then you could it was a cross between email, messaging board, and live documents that we actually have today in Google Docs. And that's the point. Google Wave was summarily closed, but all the technology that went into it found its way into Google Docs. And of course, Google Plus. Google Plus was supposedly marketed as a social network to compete with Facebook and the like, and was not. It survived for a bit of a time, and then, of course, closed. For a long time, it was a very good messaging forum system that a lot of professional field used, like role-playing game and photographers and stuff like that. But it wasn't really a social network. But what people, at least people that are not in the Google space, are not aware of, is that before Google Plus, Google services didn't have a unified account system. And what Google did with Google Plus is bring all of their services into one account system, which allows us today to have one Google account that we do everything with, and that we don't need to move between different sites and services and stuff like that. And you probably don't remember how it was pre-2010, but your Gmail couldn't really talk with your photos or Pixma or whatever it calls, and it didn't really talk with the documents and the like. The Google services were very independent, and now they all work together. So what I want to say here is that, first of all, it's too early to write off Stadia and the developers that bring their games to it. We could see a very popular platform coming out of it. That's the first thing. And even if we don't, it's not such a far-fetched idea to think that 5 years from now we will see an entirely new gaming service that use the fundamentals of the Stadia system. Maybe it will be part of the Google Home experience. Maybe it will be part of the Google Play experience. Maybe it will be something completely new. Who knows? But yeah, that's what I think will go on with Cydia. Personally, I can't access it because I don't live in the US. But if there will be a time when it comes to here, it maybe will be something I will look into. So that's it for our news topic of the day. That's all we have for you today on the show. Again, apologize for the technical difficulties that prevented Omer of being part of this closing. You can find us online on Twitter as Icel and Omer Kaplan. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, comment, and leave your reviews on your preferred listening app, which you can find at theburn.live. Our team was created by Ann Dorko, with vocals by Fishy Twitch, both on Twitter as well. And you will hear from us next time. Thank you and goodbye.